Friends, enemies, assorted potted plants. The midterms are finally over, and thank fuck for that! Oh, tits on the Virgin Mary. I thought I was going to go insane looking at GOP polling numbers. Who would vote for Republicans like that in those numbers after the decade that they've been having? After the year that they've been having? I didn't understand. And then things went the way they did, and everything, calm down. You don't need to get so excited. Yeah, the midterms and political shenaniganery surrounding it is the reason I haven't been able to make as many videos as I would like. And while yes, I am one of those people who consistently volunteers to operate polling stations, and yes, normally that would disrupt my ability to make videos, this year I was very specifically asked not to volunteer at polling stations. Because having a big, scary-looking white dude hanging out in the lobby of a polling place sends the wrong idea. And to be crystal clear, that is a sentiment I understand and agree with. Especially in light of what happened in Arizona, where people like me, people who look like me, were literally working to intimidate voters. In any case, the election is over, which means I can make regular videos again until some other bullshit comes up. And there are a couple of things related to the election that I'd really like to talk about. The first thing, and the less important thing, is something that I've seen consistently since I want to say the 80s. Republicans are not idiots, and I mean that in both contexts of the word. First context, the Republican Party and the people who operate it are not idiots. These are people who managed to subvert American democracy for more than a decade, their capstone of which was putting a genuine fascist in the highest seat of power this country has to offer, the presidency. There may be individual members of the GOP who are, a bit dim. I maintain, for example, that Louis Gohmert is the dumbest man in Washington, and I will not take that back, no matter how much he cries about it. But, as an institution, they are not stupid. They are hateful, and they are malicious, but they are not stupid. They just act stupid. No, real talk time. Take it from someone who knows. 99 times out of 100. If you think that someone is acting like an idiot, it is because they want you to think they are acting like an idiot. The safest place to stab someone is in the back. And the easiest way to get behind someone to stab them is to be beneath their notice. And that is why the Republican Party wants you to think that they are idiots. And it needs to be said, it worked. Second context, people who vote for the GOP are not idiots. In some cases, they aren't even voting against their best interests. Lots and lots of millionaires and billionaires vote for the GOP, and they put lots of money into GOP campaigns. That those people are fundraising for the GOP is the thing that's keeping the GOP afloat in the first place. But the millionaires and the billionaires are outliers, and I don't want to talk about them. And I don't want to talk about the fascists who support the GOP either, because their beliefs line up almost identically. No, I want to talk about ordinary people who vote for the GOP in spite of the GOP not serving their best interests. And to illustrate the point I want to make, I have to show you something. This is a paper called the Sangamon Sun. This is part of an entire network of about 24 newspapers that shipped all over Illinois during the election season. It is also a fascist propaganda outlet. I don't know how well you can see it over in that chair, but this one is fear-mongering about trans people. There's another one that I'm going to feature in another video too. These papers are distributed free of charge. And more often than not, whether or not you want them. I didn't ask for this thing to come in my mail, yet they sent it anyway. I didn't ask for this 60-page pamphlet about how J.B. Pritzker is the worst governor in Illinois history, but I got that anyway. By the way, the claim that J.B. Pritzker is the worst governor in Illinois history is wildly out of tune. Literally every governor of Illinois in my lifetime has been a worse governor than J.B. Pritzker. And to be clear, that is not a compliment, that is damning with faint praise. For those unfamiliar with Illinois politics, 3 of our last 7 governors have been in prison for doing crimes. That's just how it be. And that same kind of scenario mostly holds true both for television and for internet content. Progressive things, leftist things, you have to pay for. But conservative things, you can get those for free. Because, the fucking billionaires are paying for them. And whatever your opinion may be about pirating media or paying for journalism, this is still a problem. And it is a problem for the very simple reason that more people are going to be exposed to conservative ideas and conservative arguments. And it's not even necessarily that people are uncritically taking in these ideas. It's just really difficult to criticize a bad idea when you haven't been exposed to better ideas. And it needs to be understood as well, the bulk of people who vote for the GOP haven't been exposed to those better ideas, or they haven't been exposed to them in such a way that they might meaningfully consider them. And that is to say, in both contexts, it is a better idea to expose these people than it is to simply mock them. Expose the GOP for being fascists who want to kill everyone, and expose the people who have not had exposure to better ideas to those better ideas. I don't know how you would go about doing that necessarily. If only there was someone who made videos about how the GOP are secretly fascists and are doing fascism, and got more than 500 views every video. I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter. But in general, if you want to expose people to good ideas, that means you spread good ideas. It's really simple. But that is not even the thing that I wanted to talk about. The thing that I really wanted to talk about was the elections, and what comes after the elections. Because there is a thing that I have seen people skirt around acknowledging, and I hope that that ends up being the right thing to do. I hope it ends up not being a big deal, but as someone who values knowledge and understanding, I can't do that. Republican pundits and Republican politicians have been preparing for the past year or so to declare any election that they lose to have been rigged. And they have been priming their bases to do violence in order to, correct that rigging. There is a thing that absolutely needs to be acknowledged that I have not seen many people meaningfully acknowledge. The institution of the presidency in the United States, the most powerful and most resilient office in the world, was only barely able to withstand the attacks on the 6th. And GOP strategists, who have every reason to be concerned about maintaining power, have pitched doing that, but on a smaller scale, in different offices where they think that they can get away with it. And it's not even like there aren't people suggesting that already. A bit of cursory research indicates that Terry Lake and Michelle Buchanan have already suggested that various elections were rigged, and that we need to remedy that. And I bring this up because the real test for this election, the real thing that we need to pay attention to, is how many people, how many Republicans make that claim, how far those claims go, and whether or not people are instigated to violence because of those claims. The way that things are looking right now, I feel like there isn't going to be a lot of that. Specifically because the people who would have done that, the people who supported Trump, are not winning. Thank fuck. But if it is a problem that becomes more widespread, then it's something that we're going to need to figure out how we deal with it. Because we can't just take these people seriously. They are weaponizing these allegations. And yeah, on one hand, you can counter misinformation and spread real information, but that isn't a lot of help when people are being malicious and are trying to overturn elections through legal means. And the nightmare scenario is that they do manage to overturn elections through legal means, because that creates a precedent, and that can create a situation where these people never lose. I don't know, it's just... I don't think we're out of hot water yet. I don't think we can let our guard down. Because like I said before, the safest place to stab someone is in the back. Well, hey, you're still here. Neat. As long as I've got my hooks on you, let me tell you, there are links in the underbar. You know, the regular ones that I have there. I think that's mostly just my email. There's no sources here, and I'm still kicked off of Twitter for that time that I went through George H.W. Bush's Twitter account and responded to every one of his tweets with "You're a fascist clown," and that image of him in clown makeup. I've been thinking of making a Mastodon account. I don't know, I tried out Mastodon a few years ago and it seemed really unwieldy. I'll have to look into it. I also still have a Ko-Fi account. If you have any money that you're not going to do anything with, I could use it to buy groceries, or pay a lawyer to finally get these people to stop sending me fascist drivel. No, I wouldn't do that. Lawyers are expensive, and I really need groceries. But that is all I have to say about that, and I am all said out. Next video is probably going to be about how to talk to your parents about politics at Thanksgiving without having them shoot at you. My dad could have used that video. You know, that's how he went. Shot by his dad. Over politics. At Thanksgiving. Not important. Until we get there, go out, do something important, and take care of yourselves. Alright? I don't have a Twitter anymore. I was kicked off of Twitter for telling GOP people that they were fascists. Well, it's not very funny, is it?